ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Paumiko dog training Q&A. The Paumiko Q&As are held in the Paumiko Inner Circle, and the Paumiko Inner Circle is a closed Facebook group for people who are following the Paumiko Dog Guide. And the Paumiko Dog Guide is an online video series all about training people to train dogs. So in the Paumiko Dog Guide, I actually train my own dog right from picking her up as an 8-week-old pup right through to a fully trained dog, who she's a year old now, and we're still doing stuff with her and adding it to the Paumiko Dog Guide. And there's also remedial training in the Paumiko Dog Guide. We're actually retraining older dogs with seriously ingrained problems, and we're filming it all and putting that in the Paumiko Dog Guide too, and breaking all that down, explaining it all. Again, it's all about doing everything we can to train people to train dogs, so people can buy the Paumiko Dog Guide. You can subscribe to it. You can buy it once to own it forever, and you can watch it and learn how to train dogs and train your own dog. It's telling me the live video has ended, which I don't think is correct. Going live's always fun. It's always stops and starts and mucks around a little bit, or at least it tells me it does, but it's actually not. It's streaming live properly. But I like doing them live. People can ask questions and tune in. I can say hi to people, and it's just better. I just like doing them live. It's more exciting, you know. So we've got 3 questions for today's Paumiko Q&A. Andrea has asked, can you explain how to apply Paumiko dog training to road safety? Example, the dog won't cross the road without you or sits upon hearing a car. Yeah, okay, that's a really good question, Andrea. And you've probably seen me in the Paumiko Dog Guide showing off with Print and Fly off leash, on an off leash heel, and behind me, and I'm walking up to the road and they just sit down, and then we wait for a gap in traffic and we cross the road with them perfectly in at heel and all of that. And Print and Fly, I like that. They're really good off-leash heel. Miko's off-leash heel is getting very good now too. But it's a good topic because it's just something to be very careful with, you know. And we can go into it in the Paumiko Dog Guide and break down exactly what I've done with Print and Fly in regards to that. But that's something I work towards with, you know, for a long time. And that type of, you know, serious, 100% confident off-leash control, it takes time, you know, and it's a big deal. And also, again, I'm probably showing off a little bit there and putting that in those videos in the Paumiko Dog Guide. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend that other people do it, you know. It's always the safest option in certain situations, just have a lead on. That was something, I went through a stage where I was walking straight across the road. I've got beach and sand dunes straight across the road from me. And Print and Fly already had a rock solid heel off leash. But for months, like every day I'd take them for a walk across the road. For months and months, I'd put them on the long line or a leash, walk them up to the side of the road. They're obviously on a long line and leash, and they were perfect. And I've got 100% control of it, so I'm 100% safe. I know nothing's going to go wrong. And I literally did that for months, potentially almost the first year that I lived in this property. And to the point where they'd done it over and over and over, and I knew I could trust them. And then I think I took one at a time, and I went out at a quiet time, and I was very, vigilant and aware, and I watched and controlled the dog too. It might look like the dogs are just sitting automatically, but I'm probably giving them a command to sit down, and I'm watching them, walk up to the road and say sit down, and they sit, and then I'm waiting for the gap, and then I'm crossing the road, and if they go to push out in front, I'm going, get back in behind. And this is once, Fly's 5 years old now, Prince 3 years old, and I did that slowly, step by step, after years of training and then months of living here and months of practicing that drill, and then I eventually got to the point where I knew they'd be fine, and I chose a quiet time and walked them down there, and instead of putting the leash or the long line on, I did a practice run with them in behind, giving my heel command, get in, get in's my heel command for Print and Fly. For Miko, it's Miko heel. That's the command, Miko heel, and she comes into heel. For Print and Fly, it's just get in. I say get in, and they get in. And if they try to push out in front, But what I'm trying to say is there's no, how to apply Paumiko training to road safety. There's no sort of separate drill or separate thing. It's just taking everything that's in the Paumiko dog guide and everything we're going over and sort of continuing to go into to a really high level, and then practicing it in those situations, practicing it with the lead, with the leash on, and then just getting to the point where I 100% know I was confident to do that, but I would be very wary about telling anyone, hey look, just do this with your dog and then just let it off the leash by the road. It's something to be very, very careful with, but you can get it to that level 100%, just sort of applying all of the things that we've been going over in the Paumiko dog guide. And again, we're sort of we've actually just put up some new videos this week talking about going off leash with Miko, and we're going to be making some more videos next week. Miko's off-leash heel has just started to get really, really good, and we're going to make some videos on that next week. Even around distraction and all that sort of thing. So that's my answer on it, Andrea. It's just a heap of time, practice, everything that's in the Paumiko dog guide, and taking it to a really high level, but also just being really careful and almost being aware of the fact that nothing's ever 100% either, Rebecca has a 5-year-old Jack Russell Foxy Cross who barks at anything and everything. How do I stop this behaviour? Again, I take, quite a holistic a holistic approach to dog training. So it's a holistic approach. So it's never there's not one drill that you can use to stop your dog barking at everything. There's not one little drill that you can do to make sure your dog's perfect on a heel or is going to sit when it hears a car or anything like that. It's always the overall situation. Everything that you're doing with your pup or dog, everything that you've done with your dog up until that point, 24 hours a day, every day. So you're saying you've got a 5-year-old Jack Russell Foxy Cross who barks at anything and everything. What's he like on the lead? What's he like with his heel? Does he sit? Again, in the video we've just put in the Paumiko dog guide this week, they actually went up on Monday, I think. They're in there now anyway, in remedial training, and we've got a big update on training Bo and remedial training, and I'm talking about how everything's connected and how Bo's got that issue with being just super intense and excited and borderline aggressive, and sometimes just flat out aggressive, barking at other dogs and pulling on the leash, and everything's just way over the top. And how to fix that. We've been doing all this other foundation work, a part of fixing Bo's issues with aggression and all that distraction and all of that stuff was been going right back and getting her sit right and getting her walking on a leash right and getting a little bit of attentiveness. And I talked about dialogue, actually having dialogue with a dog. So if you've got a foxy cross that's barking and going crazy at everything, it's very difficult to fix that until you have a dialogue with that dog where when it does something wrong, you can say, have you got his name there? It's like with Bo. When Bo's was getting all intense and pulling on the leash and showing aggression towards other dogs, well, we couldn't fix that aggression towards other dogs properly until she had manners on the leash. So we taught her how to walk on a leash properly. And part of that, and then getting attentiveness and dialogue with the dog, so we can say, hey, Bo, don't do that, sit down and relax, is we need a proper stop drill for that. We need a proper heel and a bit of range and attentiveness, and things like good leash work, a heel, and a good stop drill is all part of getting that attentiveness. So I'd be really interested, Rebecca, if what's everything else like with your Foxy? Has he got a good stop drill? Is your dog good on a leash? Has it got a good recall? Do you have dialogue with it and control with it? Because often dogs that have crazy problems like that are really difficult to fix, usually there's other issues there with that foundational stuff, so I'd be really interested to hear back from you on that and get a little bit more details. And just know how's your foundational stuff, because it's really difficult to fix problems like that until you've got all that other stuff sorted. And also, usually once you get all that other stuff sorted, those issues just disappear anyway, because now you've got a bit of a relationship and bond and attentiveness and dialogue with your dog, That's my take on that. Kath, she's saying she's seen online suggestions to leave chew toys in the crate for pups and wondered what your thoughts were on this. So far there is nothing in the crate apart from a blanket, but I can see this will soon become a chewable temptation. All my other dogs have been soft bed chewers and I would love to avoid this. Yeah, okay. A few things on that, and there's quite a bit in the Paumiko dog guide about it. That's why I use quite that basic fleece with Miko in her crate. Because like those soft spongy stuffed beds tend to be like really fun for young dogs to tear them open and pull stuffing out and things like that. But that soft fleece, like what I use in the Paumiko dog guide, it's not so much of a good chew toy for the pups, So that's a big one, is what type of bedding you put in there for them. And potentially early on, I also talk about being prepared for the pup to potentially have a chew on its bed once or twice early on, trying to avoid it as much as possible, and then that's why I waited in the Paumiko dog guide until Miko was a bit older and sort of was getting past that stage before I gave her that big, soft, stuffed, fluffy bed, But at the end of the day, it is very common for pups to have a bit of a chew on their bedding, and in my experience, it's in most cases it's almost guaranteed that they're going to have a chew on something somewhere, and it's something that they grow out of. And I'm always sort of prepared for that and aware of that. Other things are things like, the way you start a pup off early on and trying to wear them out and get them ready to sleep before you put them in their crate, and get them used to actually sleeping in their crate and relaxing in their crate and not leaving them in there for ages at a time when they're going to get bored and start chewing things. And the chew toys, like in the dog guide, I showed you how I do give Miko chew. I keep them more edible. I like the edible ones, like you can get the pig's ears and you can get the different you know, plant-based chew toys as well, and you can get all sorts of natural chew toys these days from pet stores and Animates and things like that, you know. And I do use those sometimes, and that would be an ideal time if I'm thinking, man, I'm going to have to leave my pup in its crate for quite a while here, and this is probably a time when my pup may chew its bed. That's when I'll put a pig's ear in its crate with it so it can chew that, and that's totally fine. And again, I like using the ones that are more of a food-based one or a biodegradable one that the pup or dog can actually chew up and eat, rather than putting, you know, plastic chew toys and things like that in with them. Is because it's a food item. It's not teaching my dog to chew random items, you know. And finally, a really important part of this whole thing for me is I'm always trying to work towards the point where my pup or dog is used to relaxing in a crate or kennel without chewing stuff. And I don't like a situation where there's always all this junk in my pup's kennel the whole time that it's growing up, and I'm training it to just chew stuff the whole time. I'm actually trying to train it to relax and not chew stuff. And I'm more using chew toys and the edible types to try and transition my pup or dog, you know, away from chewing things like its beard and its bowls and other stuff like that, giving it something to chew on, and trying to turn it into more of a food item thing. Bones are great too. You know, you can get the proper ones. Cooked bones aren't good, but proper raw bones, big cannon bones from the pet shops. You get the soft veal bones and things like that. That's what I'm always trying to do. And again, I'm not a huge fan of always having all this junk in there and always having something there for my pup or dog to chew on, because you can actually train them and get them used to and dependent on chewing the whole time. Where I'm really trying to train them just to relax in their crate or on their bed and not chew. You know, and I can do things like put my pup or dog in its crate when I've got time to sit down. The crate might be inside, like I do in the Paumiko Dog Guide. Pup or dog's in its crate while I'm sitting down and watching TV or cooking dinner. I can kind of keep an eye on it and do that. And if I see it showing its bed, I can say, no, don't do that. I can give it a bit of a command of disapproval, put a bit of pressure on those things that I don't want. And I'm really trying to just train my pup or dog that in the crate, kennel or crate, is time to relax. But those chew toys are a great tool for when I know and I have to leave and I know, man, my pup might have a chew on its bedding here. And I'll give it one of those food-based chew toys, you know. And yeah, it's just about being sort of wary and vigilant and thinking about it and planning and doing it the best you can. And you can usually get it pretty good, you know. Print and Fly, they won't chew their bed now, and they've got their nice flash, you know, big dog beds that they sleep in every night, and it's really good. So that's it, guys. We've just had those 3 questions this time. Next time I'm going to try and be a bit better at asking questions off these questions, like Rebecca's question there. It would have been good if I had replied to her and asked more questions about what's your dog like with other stuff, so I could have talked about that further. And if Rebecca comes back, puts a bit of a reply on this video, then we can talk about that further later on. And we've got slowly getting more and more people in the inner circle here, and getting a few more questions and these Q&As in the whole Paumiko inner circle and dog guide and everything. It's just sort of going to build and get better and better. So I just want to say a huge thanks to everyone that signed up to the Paumiko dog guide lately, and we're still adding to it. We're going to be doing more. We've just added more videos. We're going to be doing more filming next week and just making it better and better. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.